Okay, good morning, millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. I hope you're feeling incredible this morning. My name is Haziq Ali, and welcome to the world's only 5 day a week morning show for entrepreneurs and servant leaders. If you are either a leader or an entrepreneur, and who isn't in these days and times, then you are in the right place. Every single morning, our goal is to help you go further, faster, with less effort. My name is Haziq Ali. I'm a self esteem development fanatic. I'm a revenue acceleration expert. And every single day, our goal is to help you access some of this money that's hidden inside your business. Right now, if you're riding with us, please rep your city. We want to know where you're from. We want to know what kind of business you have. We want to know how it helps people. It's check-in time, y'all. Make sure you give stars. Give me a replay, gang, if you're watching a replay. We want to know what you like the best about it. Leave some tips for others if there's something that we missed that rings true to you. And I also want you to know you should set your schedule. Every Monday we're doing mindset. Every Tuesday we're doing sales tips. Every Wednesday is going to be about marketing. Every Thursday is going to be about leadership. And then every Friday is free coaching Friday. So set your schedule up for that right now. I'm gonna give it to you again. Here's the schedule. So that way you can get prepared. That way you know what it is that you are tuning in for. And you can let others know who may need help in one area or the other. Every Monday is going to be mindset, basically entrepreneur mindset. Every Tuesday is going to be sales tips Tuesday. Every Wednesday, we're going to be talking about marketing. Every Thursday is going to be leadership. And then every Friday will be free coaching Friday. You're like, well, how do I turn in questions for free coaching Friday? Well, you got two different ways. You can tune in live on Friday, and then we'll make sure you have it. Or what you can do is respond to the newsletter. The newsletter comes out every Monday. And so you are in the right place at the right time. If you are wanting to participate in the entrepreneur mindset newsletter that we put out, then make sure you go to millionaireminded.com, put your name and your email and the address, and just like that, you will be enrolled. So rep your city, let them know where you're calling in from. We want to know. Today, we're talking about Colonel Sanders, the legend of Colonel Sanders. How many of us have eaten at KFC and many other restaurants, many other businesses that we support, and we have no idea about their story? Listen to me. If you are tuning in from America, then every day you're riding past legendary success stories that maybe you've never considered. When you drive past these stores, when you drive past these malls, when you drive past these businesses of all types, so when these businesses show up to you in your mailbox, or they show up knocking on your door, many times you're looking at the most inspirational stories you can imagine, but you probably never cared enough, or you probably never had it come to your consciousness like, man, how did this become a household name? How exactly does somebody go from the invisible to the tangible? Well, that's what we talk about every single morning. And today we're going to talk about Colonel Sanders and the legend of KFC. But right now, rep your city. Let them know where you're calling in from. What's up, Yuli? Good morning. Good morning. Naire in the house. Okay, Darnisha, I'm glad you made it in. Taisha, good morning. Good morning. Ashley, what's up? Ken, my man Ken checking in. Glad to see you, brother. Miss Chanel Cook is checking in from the YouTube gang. My man Alan Harmon is in the house. Yeah. Kay Wright made it in this morning. Let's go. Let's get it. All right, so we're gonna jump straight into this thing, man, because I think it's wild that Colonel, and somebody type this comment in the comments. I know we got people listening in on the live line as well, but if you're checking in with us through YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, I want you to type a number in the comments. 1009. 1009. Somebody type that in. 1009. Man, leaving that window open did not do me no favors. 1009. 1009. Do you know what that number means? Yeah, Alan, I appreciate that, King, because you're an entrepreneur. You're going to appreciate this. Somebody else type it in for me. 1009. And then give me a share, please. Miss Mandy, can you share this with somebody? Give me a share, somebody. 1009. Matter of fact, I'll be right back while y'all are doing that. 1009. Type that in. 1009. Type that in, somebody. 1009. You're like, why is he having us type in 1009, right? Check this out. The reason I had you type in 1009 is because this cat, Colonel Sanders, who we're here to talk about this morning, he was rejected exactly 1009 times before he was able to sell his KFC recipe successfully. How many of you would make it to 19? How many of you would have quit at 9? How many of you would have quit at 109? How many of you would have quit at 90? How many of you would have quit at 99? How many of us would have quit at 1,000? This man was rejected exactly 1009 times before he could sell that KFC recipe. And then in addition to this, he failed at every single job he ever turned to during his crazy life. After a lifetime of facing failure, y'all, he finally sold KFC at the ripe old age of 75 years young. So what we're going to talk about this morning is 7 different lessons that we can get from Colonel Sanders. And I don't care whether you're 25 or you're 75. My goal is to give you something you can use this morning. So here's the first one I got for you. Somebody give it to me in the comments. This is important, y'all. Failure breeds success. Failure breeds success. Now, we've heard about this a whole bunch of times, right? But like I said, he was rejected 1009 times before he could successfully sell this KFC recipe. That's a lot of rejection. But not only that, he failed miserably at every other career he ever attempted. Between the ages of 10 and 40, maybe you knew this, maybe you didn't, but Colonel Sanders tried his hand. He was a little bit far from the world of chicken. Check it out. Streetcar conducting. Check it out. Farming. Check it out. He failed at law. He failed at sales. He failed at firefighting. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is so you understand, no matter how much you experience failure, there's still time. Somebody give it to me in the comments. There's still time. There's still time. I don't care how old you are. There's still time. I don't care how young you are. There's still time. I don't care how inexperienced you feel you are. There is still time. Somebody give it to me. There's still time. There's still time. Colonel Sanders has this quote. I'm going to read it to you right quick. I had to write this down. He was like, I've only had 2 rules. Do all you can and do it the best you can. It's the only way you ever get that feeling of accomplishing something. Colonel Sanders said that. Colonel Sanders said that. Y'all ready for the second lesson? Here's the second one. It's never too late. It's never too late. When Colonel Sanders was 75, he sold KFC's recipe for about $2 million. That's about somewhere around $20-30 million today, right? Check it out, y'all. Can you imagine experiencing a win like that after a lifetime of losing the way he did? I've met people in my coaching career who thought they were over the hill by the time they in their 30s. You hear me? But this dude kept going in the face of rejection. I'm talking about plowing through adversity, and then still ended up being the founder and the face of a brand that's known worldwide. Who don't know about Finger Licking Good? Who don't know about this whole Colonel Sanders guy? Who can't picture that bucket in their head when somebody says KFC, right? Millionaires. It's never too late. And I know that's almost like there's still time, but I really want to emphasize that point. Here's the third tip I got for you. Here's the third lesson that we can learn from the legend of Colonel Sanders. Check it out. The past is in the past. The past is in the past. Millionaires, in order to be successful as an entrepreneur, many people simply need to learn that the past is in the past. And it's only going to define your future chance of success if you allow it to. It doesn't matter how many times you failed. You hear me? It doesn't matter where you've come from. It doesn't matter what negative things you've experienced. It doesn't matter what negative things you've done. You got to release the guilt. You got to release the shame. You got to release the cowardice. You got to feel the fear and do it anyway, and understand that today is another chance. Somebody give it to me in the comments. Today is another chance. Today is another chance. Your past doesn't hold the keys to your future success. Millionaires, I'm going to tell you something wild. The past doesn't even determine the present like everybody thinks. What I always try and teach and get people to understand is that it's actually the future that creates your present reality. Now, what could I possibly mean by that? What I mean is, once you decide where it is you're headed, the things in your present reality that matter to you, that are relevant to you, begin to change a little bit. Does that make sense? All of a sudden, because of the way you're picturing your future, because of the way you're picturing your destination, your destiny, all of a sudden, things start to matter in the present moment that wouldn't have mattered all of a sudden. All of a sudden, you see a news article and it's a little more interesting because of what you decided you're going to do in the future. All of a sudden, you're having a conversation and something they say makes you want to delve a little bit deeper because of where you know you're headed in the future. All of a sudden, you're walking past the bookshelf and a certain book stands out a little bit differently than it does to me because of where you've decided you're headed. Am I making sense? Somebody give it to me in the comments. It's the future that determines the present. It's the future that determines the present. Most people don't get that. But because you're millionaire minded, I thought that was a jewel that maybe you could use. Check it out, y'all. The Colonel failed at every career he ever attempted. He even spent a bunch of his life in an unhappy marriage, which ended in divorce. He had to provide for 3 children by the time he was 19 years old. Do you hear me? For most, that'd be enough for them to sacrifice their dreams. I got to take care of 3 kids and I'm still a teenager. But check it out. The Colonel pressed on. He pressed on with faith. He pressed on from 19 through 20, through 25, through 26, through 27. He pressed on through 30, through 35, through 36, through 38. He pressed on past 40. He pressed on past 50. The man didn't sell it until the age of 75. Somebody say, it's the future that determines your present. It's the future that determines your present. Come on, Michael Joe. It's the future that determines your present. Here's lesson number 4 that we get from the legend of KFC. Giving up is the only way to fail. Giving up is the only way to fail. Giving up is the only way to fail. Failure is a natural side effect of life. Mistakes are a natural side effect of life. And the story of KFC tells us that quitting is the only failure. If you have the same outlook, if you have the same faith in what you're trying to do, the possibility of significant success is never off the table. I just heard Bishop Bronner say this yesterday. It blew my mind. He was like, right there in the middle of life, you see the word if. What is if? Whenever you see the word if, then what you're talking about is possibility. If you read this book, if you go to work today with a different mindset, if you eat healthy, if you start focusing on more on your net worth than you do on Netflix. You got what I'm saying to you? If the possibility is never off the table. Even when you see the clock is ticking, right? Even when you see the days flashing by, even when you see the weeks turning into months, there's no time limit on being a success. Never stop searching for that light at the end of the tunnel. Stop despising small beginnings. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm about to put up a video this morning. Check it out. Here's how you add me on Instagram, right? Because I'm gonna put up something on. I'm gonna put up something this morning on Instagram that's gonna help you because it's gonna talk about the law of accumulation. I want you to understand that you do not despise small beginnings because check it out. There's something called the law of accumulation. It says every great success you see, every overnight success you see, probably took about 10 years, probably took about 1,000 hours of practice, probably took untold amounts of focus, untold amounts of perseverance. Millionaires giving up is the only way to fail. Never stop searching for that light at the end of the tunnel. Here's lesson number 5, y'all. A fresh start is sometimes all you need. A fresh start is sometimes all you need. Sometimes all you need. Now we know in today's times, that cooking must have been a passion for Colonel Sanders. But how many of us, I was just telling check it out. A lot of times you don't know what you like. You just like what you know. Maybe you need a fresh start. He didn't discover this enthusiasm he had for cooking until way later in his life. But it was only through having the courage to fail. I just now ran down to you all the stuff he did, from being a firefighter to being a salesman, right? He failed at all of this stuff. But it's because he had the courage to keep on starting over. It's because he had the courage to hold on to his dream, even though he had 3 kids by the age of 19, even though he was a single father, right? When you try to succeed in multiple disciplines, it's a surefire way to burn yourself out. The start is always going to be the hard part. Any musician will tell you the hardest part of practicing is opening up that instrument case and pulling it out. That's the hardest part. After you finally get the case open, right? It's easy to practice. It's always the hardest to start. And for most people, the idea of doing this over and over and over and over again in their 30s and their 40s and their 50s and their 60s and their 70s would be absolutely exhausting. The energy and the passion that Colonel Sanders showed by doing this well into his 70s, and again, getting rejected 1,009 times, again, not selling this recipe until he was 75 years old. That's an inspirational lesson to anybody who's paying attention. Here's number 6, y'all. Take a leap of faith. Take a leap of faith. You've all heard me talk about now faith. When we talk about David going up against Goliath, when you hear the definition of faith, in that big book about entrepreneurship, right? We're told now faith is the substance. We skip over the now part, right? Why do we skip over the now part? Because faith is the easiest to have when you don't need it. Faith is the hardest to have when it's absolutely critical you have some faith. Millionaires, I don't know where you are. I don't know who I'm talking to this morning. But what I know is that if you find yourself on a precipice of giving up, this is when it's time for you to take a leap of faith. Everything that you need, you've already got to have everything you want. And you hear it in all of the movies, you read it in all of the books. It's almost a cliche, right? That following your heart's desire is the key to success a lot of times. It's the key to happiness. It's the key to contentment. But how is it then that so many of us won't chase after what we really want from this crazy life? Sitting back and relaxing into your comfort zone, that means that most of us are never going to feel the passion and the desire that life should really be made up of. What we end up settling for is distraction. Many times you hear me say that you got to expand your mind to match your goals, or your goals start to shrink to match your mind. You're going to mess around and trade in your happy life for happy hour. You're going to mess around and spend so much time distracting yourself from what you really need, from what you really want, that you're going to mess around and become what you really fear. You hear what I'm saying to you? It is the pursuit of a passion that makes you happy. It's distraction that gets you high. You hear what I'm saying? Do you want high or do you want happy? I suggest you make a decision right now. And nobody's saying that you don't need a little bit of decompression every now and then. Nobody's saying that you shouldn't take time out to walk through nature. You shouldn't take time to enjoy every bite of food. We call that mindfulness. And in fact, that is a vital part of the recipe. But what you got to start doing is remembering that it's the journey itself that's going to be fulfilling. It really ain't even the goal. It's who you have to become to achieve that goal. And everybody's got to remember this morning that every failure can be a stepping stone to something better as long as you don't quit. Here's the last one I got for you. Y'all ready? I ain't talking too fast, am I? Check it out, y'all. Lesson number 7, keep it simple. It sounds crazy, but Kentucky Fried Chicken started by selling chicken on the side of the road. After he sold his recipe, the business blew up crazy, right? All of a sudden, you see him all over the world. I was in China, and guess what they had written in Chinese on the side of a red and white striped bucket? You got it, KFC. The lesson here is, through all of this humble beginnings to now being in 145 different countries, never be afraid of keeping stuff simple. As long as you're willing to work at it, as long as you're willing to keep on going hard in the face of rejection, in the face of laughter, in the face of people playing with you, millionaires, your success is inevitable. That's the way it works. God wants to show the world what he does for the believer. But keep it simple. As long as you're willing to get started, which is the hard part, as long as you're willing to keep going at it, as long as you're willing to stay in a place of humility where you can be teachable, as long as you remember a wise man can learn from even a fool, while a fool can't even learn from a wise man, things are going to grow. A lot of times would-be entrepreneurs, they stay stuck in amateur mode. And amateur comes from the same word that we get amore. When the moon hits your eye like a big piece, that's amore, right? That's the word in Italian for love. Amateur comes from that same word. And that's what amateurs do. They just do it until they get to the parts they don't like so much. You got me? That's what an amateur does. They just work on the parts they like. I was listening to this interview with Beyonce, and she was talking about how most people don't like consistently putting in hours of practice. Why? Because they're a superstar now. Oh, I forgot that part. Most superstars don't like putting in countless hours of methodical practice. You want to know why? Because the whole world looks at them as a superstar, but when they get in that practice studio, they're a beginner again. See, they love doing the parts that they love to do. But a professional uses discipline. And discipline is about doing the parts that you don't like with just as much enthusiasm as the parts you love. That's what makes you a professional and eventually a master. Millionaires, a lot of times people put off getting started. They put off launching their website. They put off using a new technique, whatever it might be, because they simply don't believe they're big enough. They simply don't believe that they are enough. That's why one of my favorite affirmations every morning is, I am enough. You got everything you need to get everything you want. You do not, nobody has the capacity to dream a dream they can't fulfill. But millionaires, you got to get started. And I hope that studying people like Colonel Sanders will give you a little bit of inspiration. If you need some more, then make sure you join the newsletter. You see it scrolling down there at the bottom. If you're always like, what topic are they doing today? How do I find out what's happening in advance? Well, you text @MillMind to 81010. You see that? Do that right now, y'all. And then come in the comments and say done. Text @MillMind to the number 81010. That'll keep you plugged in with us. That'll keep you plugged in so you never miss it. If you want to get the newsletter later on the day, make sure you go to millionaireminded.com, right? And what I'd like you to do this morning is put something in the comments that you learned that you can teach somebody else, and then tag them in it. Make sure they get it too. I love you all. It's affirmation time. Here's the number you're going to call right now. Call in right now. Call in right now. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is. It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Obviously, you can join the newsletter, millionaireminded.com, but be calling in right now. You'll get the newsletter a little bit later today. The newsletter is always split into mindset, skill set, and heart set. So every single Monday, you're able to get, in a quick 7-minute read, something that's going to change your philosophy, something that's going to add onto your skill set, and something it's going to help you think about things a little bit different so you feel a little more fulfilled. Hope that feels good to you. All right, you ready? It's affirmation time. Let's get it. I am so happy and grateful